So one of the big issues that countries face is overregulation in this space, and we're seeing it in Europe now play out, particularly in France and Germany, and probably more so across the EU. So every company we work for now may have to very soon treat any customers that are from Europe in a very different way than they treat other customers from the rest of the world. So I think if I was going to change, I think it would. At the moment, we need to think about how that regulation environment is going to operate around the uses and not the collection and analysis. And so there's a lot of value that we're talking about right now in just opening data up to get to, to collect it and analyse it, and then but to be more liberal on regulating the use and let the market, I guess, find its way and find its own level. And the comment before about double click, I was around back then and involved in that whole space, and it was a little frightening to think about back in those days what they were trying to do with stopping various things now that are relatively common practice. And so when you take a breath and you think about what time does to a lot of these environments, time just walks by, and the market just gets more and more used to ads following you around on Facebook, and the market gets better at serving those ads. And we get more comfortable that those ads are more relevant, and we get better experiences, and that goes for content. So right now you're going to see a big wave of more relevant content finding its way to our news feeds or browsing behaviour. And if governments over-regulate early, you end up in decline in productivity. And so I would sort of, I guess I'd probably talk myself into saying take a breath would be my advice.
What I'd say is it's as much about corporate governance as the actual legislation. My experience is the Privacy Act is used as an excuse not to do things without actually investigating if it doesn't stop you doing those things. And I think there's an education thing for boards and senior managers to actually understand what the Privacy Act says and how it's relevant to their businesses, and maybe let go a little bit. Because I'm also involved in a few not-for-profits and associations, and I've seen a want not to release data and blaming the Privacy Act when it doesn't stop that happening at all.
There's no in most boards, the comment before was 24% or whatever it was, boards don't have a data strategy, and that's true, and that's part of the issue. So companies will have a process or a governance framework to authorise, whether the CEO can sign up to 250 grand or whether what's got to go to the board. But there's no mechanism to sign up to whether that data can be exchanged either inter-department in many large companies or inter-company. And so thinking about the governance framework in that way, in the way that you think about money, and because really ultimately money is just data until it gets into our wallet. It's just data. And so there's no framework for authorisation for data inside large companies, and so boards need to think more and more about, well, if we're going to think about how to get this on our balance sheet, or we're going to think about how to leverage it in a way that we really can actually personalise properly to our customers so that we can offer them, heaven forbid, the right product at the right time, then you're going to have to think about how do we authorise who can do what inside the, and the government dominoes legislation that's gone through last year. It's all about that. It's all about, well, we can't even share between our inter-government departments at the moment because we're worried about the Privacy Act. And so he's trying to force that to happen, but the shades of grey that sit in between those departments is really quite, for them daunting. And so part of this, the most recent tender is to try and solve that, I guess.